Hello, once again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of AIW's The Card is Going to Change. And of course, before we start this week's show, as always, we want to give a thanks to our wonderful partners who help us bring the show to you for free on whichever podcast platform you choose to listen. Thanks to our friends at Smokin' Jay's Barbecue for always supporting us and being there. You may have just seen them recently at a fan fest over last weekend. Got to try some of their food. They had a great response from WWE Hall of Famer Ron Simmons, from what I've gathered. So good deal on them for that. If you want to know what they have to offer, if you're in the Massillon area or really anywhere in Northeast Ohio, if you've got an event getting catered, go to @smokin_Jays BBQ on social media, and you can find them and get in touch and contact with those guys and see what they can offer. If you've got folks who are going to be eating at your event that are vegan or vegetarian, Smokin' Jay's does that as well. So they've got plenty of options to be considered for everybody that could possibly be attending your event. And of course, thanks to the merger between SmartMark Video and IWTV, watching AIW shows has never been easier. Whether you want to purchase DVDs like the most recent Wrestle Rager 3 release on DVD, go to smartmarkvideo.com.
It's not
newly released.
Recent.
Yes, new trailer.
Most recently released trailer. Because I am kind of working on a project to go back and get trailers out for everything that didn't have a trailer, which is quite a bit.
You know, the guy that used to do our trailers got a little busy with life.
And television career. But so, that's they're slowly getting rolled out a little bit. It just so happened that Wrestle Rager 3 was the one that was chosen last week. And actually, it worked. I got, Mike Burns from SmartMark Video said we sold a few copies on Sunday. So
there you go.
Buy those DVDs up. Physical media.
SmartMark Video.
Bring it back.
Smartmarkvideo.com for those. You can also purchase MP4s. It's the entire AIW archive that is on there. Now, also, if you are more into subscriptions and streaming services on your smart device or smart TV, go to independentwrestling.com. I can't even get this thing right. Christ, how long have I talked about this thing? Independentwrestling.tv, folks. That's the correct one. It is IWTV. You can follow them on social media at Indie Wrestling. They have not only a rotating archive of AIW shows, but also other independent wrestling promotions as well, plus some original series. It's $9.99 for IWTV. You get all of the new AIW shows as they occur for a time frame, including whenever we live stream. So it's an incredible deal. This week's show, Gauntlet for the Gold, will not be live streamed. Your only way to watch it in real time is by being there. Shop.aiwrestling.com for general admission tickets that are still available at the Tadmore Shrine in Akron this Saturday, May the 21st. But the show will then shortly thereafter be available on IWTV if you cannot make it to Akron, Ohio this weekend. All that being said, we roll into this week's show. It is a hard sell episode. We're sorry that we missed you last week. We actually were pretty busy. We had Cybernetico almost 2 weeks ago now, and on the heels of that, we had to go to the whiteboard.
We had a couple
meeting skis.
Couple meeting skis.
Yeah.
I don't know what's what'll happen with them, but
all sorts of planning. Yeah. See?
Yeah, we had a few business meetings. It's kind of weird. I hate business meetings. I'm just going to throw that out there. Just wildly uncomfortable to sell yourself to this thing that is already interested. But we had a few in the last few weeks. I mean, nothing has officially materialized. We actually have a business meeting Saturday prior to the Gauntlet for the Gold as well. So lots of meetings happening. I don't know if anything will become of them, but yeah, I don't know. It seems slowly but surely getting a little bit of that momentum back. It feels like we're very busy, which is a good thing. And just, man, is it getting tough to juggle with life again? You know, like it's that coming out of that kind of COVID nothingness for the last 2 years or so, you know, where we, you know, mixed in a show here and there over the last 2 years to go to this 2022 schedule, which is very heavy, and it looks like more dates are going to get added. You know, we've been rolling out some announcements here over the last 2 weeks. You know, the rap show's back, Absolution's back, Jaylet's back. You know, we're working on a couple more of those marquees that are going to be back before the end of the summer. So yeah, it's just been very, very busy. And it looks like it's going to be a fun summer. Hopefully, you know, the majority of you AIW faithful that listen to this podcast are going to be along for the ride, because there is a lot going on. It looks like at least 3 outdoor shows this summer, which, you know, that always makes me a little nervous. But, you know, when everything falls into place, I think there's nothing better than an outdoor summer AIW show. I think it creates, you know, probably the funnest environment possible. So yeah, there's just a lot going on, man. A lot going on. Back to Ashtabula on July 30th. Working on something special for that. That's a little bit different than what we did last year. So yeah, man, just tons going on. It's a little overwhelming, but great all at the same time.
Yeah, there you go. That voice, of course, AIW owner John Thorne. My name is Steve Guy, your moderator of sorts. He laid it out.
We were just getting right into it.
We are getting right into it. You know, officially get into things, John Thorne, though we, of course, have to do, I've already said, of course, way too many times, the shout-out segment, man. So we're going to lean into that and get those over with quickly because we have so much going on. I will lead this sucker off. John Thorne, I don't know if you know this, but yesterday, as we record this on Monday, was the birthday of one of our AIW roster members.
Filthy Tom Lawler's birthday.
Filthy Tom Lawler's birthday. Shout out.
That's not what you were going to say, was it? Was that what you were going to say? Were you going to say something else?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, you're a little hesitation.
I was going to say Filthy
there.
Tom Lawler. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Filthy Tom Lawler celebrating his birthday. Former Absolute champion. So shout out to Filthy Tom. I won't tell you how old he is. He looks so young and youthful. He's in great shape. The guy's a machine, right?
Yeah, shout him out. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if I have any shout outs specifically. I mean, I'm trying to think what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. You know, I don't want to shout out any of these meetings prematurely before a deal is done.
Shout out to Martin Height, the inventor of the whiteboard.
Oh man, the big whiteboard. Shot. The whiteboard. Listen, before we really hard sell it, I just gotta lay the scene that we acquired use of a gigantic boardroom for the Gauntlet for the Gold logistics meeting. And if you're ever booking a Rumble Royale, as they would call it, man, do you need a gigantic whiteboard that's about as big as a 5th grade chalkboard? It certainly helps. I think it helps this process quite a bit. That is how we spent the weekend, you know, ironing all that out. So shout out to the whiteboard and dry erase markers. They were used for hours and hours and hours this weekend, trying to, you know, dot the I's and cross the T's on this Gauntlet for the Gold card and the Gauntlet match itself, I mean, gigantic undertaking. Again, talking about the just crazy hectic schedule bleeding over into real life, like throwing the Gauntlet in there is just a whole other monster, really, especially coming out of the Cybernetico, which it's an entirely different problem to work through. But yeah, lots of usage of the whiteboard. So I will give out a shout out to the inventor of the whiteboard, or the dry erase board, or whatever you call it.
Also, shout out to the teams from the Cybernetico. What we haven't talked about it yet on here, but it turned out, I think, best case scenario. Nobody really knew. I think we had some confidence going into it, wanted everybody to have fun with it, and it delivered, and it delivered beyond everybody's expectations, and that really, of course, falls on those who were involved in that one. So shout out to all of those roster members involved in the Cybernetico. Just fantastic job there.
Yeah, that is what I think is great about the Winchester shows. Not only are you mixing in different talents and different, matchups and things like that, but to be able to do that match, which, honestly was nothing more than a marketing thing, because we didn't realize the date. Well, I didn't realize the date fell on Cinco de Mayo, and somebody asked me what we're doing special for it, and I just that came into my head. But the fact that we were able to really just take that, listen to how stupid that is, take that just stupidity of going, we're just going to call it Cybernetico de Mayo and figure it out later, and be able to put out a very great long storytelling match like all involved did. I think, I think I counted with, the participants, the kind of the multiple ref things, the managers, the commentators, the ring announcer. I think that segment had over 25 people total in it, which is crazy if you really think about it. 25 people went into that just in front of a, live and, live at the Winchester and live IWTV audience, that featured, 25 something different personalities, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's really wild to think about there. And we'll talk about that momentarily. We'll get through this shout out segment. Full disclosure, folks, when we do the shout out segment, we at times open it up to some folks from the AIW roster, and sometimes if you ever think somebody deserves a shout out, of course, you can hit me up on Twitter at the Steve Guy or at AI Wrestling and let us know who deserves shout outs week in and week out. But these folks are deserved shout outs according to those we asked. Of course, everybody wants to shout out Luca from the Dallas Mavericks on an incredible performance yesterday. We all know he's a big fan of AIW and clearly listening to this podcast. Shout out to Whole Foods. Derek Dillinger recently discovering bone marrow at Whole Foods. And also shout out to Headhunters Everywhere on helping AIW roster members land new jobs. Has occurred recently. That's another Derek Dillinger thing. We had to teach him what headhunters were. So, for as much props we give him, we have to call out some things sometimes. Shout out to AIW fan Sophie Little. Not only is she a longtime AIW fan, she also has done some gear for the shooters. She's graduating from Ohio University. That's a great big accomplishment. So congrats to her. And another big shout out from multiple roster members, actually. John Thorne, I don't know if you knew this, but Sid Von England, very handy and has become quite the gear maker.
So what? I don't buy gear.
I mean, that's a nice.
How
That's
many
a
people
nice.
are listening or
That's a
buying
nice
his
statement.
gear? I don't know if you need gear.
I
Look
don't
for
know.
Sid. Look for Sid Von England if you need some
Yeah,
gear.
I think that's a. You bring up a good point there. There are people who are not part of the AIW roster, but are wrestlers who do listen to this show. So maybe we do get Sid some more work there. Uh, pulls his weight financially in that household finally. Where else are we gonna go here from here, John Thorne? I don't know. Let's get into it, shall we? You got no more shout outs.
I really don't have
shout out segment.
I don't really have any shout outs that I can really think of, to be honest with you. I prepare 0 shout outs. This is your segment. I really like the back end segment where I just answer. I like the back end segment where I just answer a bunch of questions for 90 minutes from fans in the Discord.
So you don't have to think about things.
Yeah, just freestyle it.
So Cybernetico, let's touch on that a little bit more before we get into this week's Gauntlet for the Gold, because some things did set some stuff up there. We talked about how all the work that went into it, and it was great. But the Cybernetico itself, just amazing expectations. And then after such a long matchup on all the eliminations, we're ending with Dominic Garrini and Derek Dillinger. And if you were not already entertained and invested in what was happening in that Cybernetico match, boy, did those two leave it all out there and put on a show. I mean, these are your top 2 people, aside from Josh Prohibition, who of course helps do classes at the school, but these are realistically your top 2 trainers. Speak to, I don't know if pride is the right word for you, or just what your thoughts were on what those 2 did to end and close that night.
To just give them the credit though is a disservice. I think to the correct. Entire match. The home stretch was great, but I don't think the home stretch is as great without the, whatever it was, 45 minutes or whatever of in-ring action before that. I think the whole thing with entrances was over 70 minutes. It was just a, it was a good, I think it was a good little way to tie it up, but I don't think that the story works without all the other pieces in the machine that went into that entire match. Because I mean, there was a lot of great stuff in there that set the table for them to be able to do that at the end. And a little shocking surprise for Dominic, telling him he's getting the title shot in his hometown. I think really made for a good moment.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I may be wrong. Has he had a title shot at the Absolute title?
I mean, I don't know.
I know. I feel like it's been so long. I'm trying to think if he.
It's possible, but I mean,
certainly maybe. The stage has never been bigger than this for him.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, I really don't think so. I mean, I'm going to say that, and somebody's going to find something where it happened, but I really don't think that he has. I think this is really, I know he hasn't really disclosed, his medical stuff, but I mean, everything that has kind of come on for this to culminate in his, what he would consider his hometown venue, the Tadmor Shrine. Mm-hmm. I really don't think there's a more perfect story for Dominic Garrini than this Saturday. I think this is, going to be the culmination of years of hard work and the trials and tribulations he experienced, last year and early this year, to the comeback. And, maybe one day Dom is going to get into everything that happened. I don't think to this point that he has. So I'm not gonna, talk about it again. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think that he has disclosed everything that he went through and is still kind of going through. But yeah, I think this is just one of those kind of things where in wrestling it just whatever it is, the universe or whatever kind of brings it all together. I think this is the moment.
Yeah, and what a moment it would be. We announced it. We told Dom there. It's Dominic Garrini. It's going to happen this Saturday as a result of Dom being the last person in the Cybernetico to survive the whole thing. He gets a shot at the Absolute and Intense titles held by Matt Cardona. That is this Saturday. So not only do you have the 30-person Gauntlet for the Gold to determine the future number one contender, but our current number one contender gets his title shot prior to that this Saturday at Gauntlet for the Gold at the Tadmor Shrine. As John just said, Dom's home spot. So never has there been a bigger stage for Dominic Garrini than this. And again, I say that, folks, and if you want to watch it live, because there is going to be so much to support, in terms, we talk all the time about people bleeding AIW, and we've talked about that a lot since Matt Cardona has shown up at AIW and how it's gotten under the skin of a lot of people. Dominic Garrini is your head trainer at the AIW Academy. If anybody bleeds AIW, it is absolutely Dominic Garrini. So this match just means so much to him, and so much more than I think that we could even do justice in saying here. So if you want to come, shop.aiwrestling.com. All you've got are general admission, but not a bad seat at the Tadmor Shrine, that's for sure. And anybody else, if you're not there in Akron, Ohio this weekend, you're gonna have to wait a few days to find out how it all goes down.
Yeah. We're going to get into it, but I really feel very strongly about what's going to happen on Saturday night.
There are surprises in store, but there's still more fallout from Cybernetico. The other big match we talk about, Isaiah Broner has himself a matchup. We see the debut of the Babushka boy, the Babushka Baron, I suppose is his actual name. So Jeffrey John shows up, and no match for Isaiah Broner. And in true Isaiah Broner fashion, lays out a challenge afterwards. All he has to do is say a name. And this Saturday, you have the hard-hitting Isaiah Broner taking on Eddie Kingston at Gauntlet for the Gold.
Yeah, and I just would like to clarify, because Josh Bishop has been spreading a rumor around the world of independent wrestling that the Babushka boy got a "please come back" chant. I watched the tape. I did not hear "please come back" for the Babushka boy on the replay of the stream. I don't know if IWTV edited it out or Josh Bishop is lying. I would lean to Josh Bishop is lying. And the Babushka boy did not get the "please come back" chant. But if anybody has any, audio or visual evidence, I will certainly review it.
He's Josh Bishop, big fan of the Babushka Baron, even though he didn't have a great showing on this night. But I say Isaiah Broner is hard hitting. And we have seen time and time again how hard-hitting Eddie Kingston is. Just in fact, last weekend had a match in New Japan, for New Japan. So here we go again. Tadmor Shrine, two heavy hitters going at it. I expect just, I don't know, pure violence out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the people want to see. I think this is the one. And if you want to see it live, you got to buy a ticket.
Yep, exactly it. That's exactly it. And this is a match you want to see live. I know we'll get into it. You have surprises in store, but this is not a surprise. And it's still a match that I think everybody will be talking about once it happens. No pressure, Isaiah Broner. We will see.
I mean, I think I think he thrives on the pressure. You know what I mean? I think he's
yeah.
You know, he's ready for it. I think, you know, 2022 is you know, it's his time. I mean, not only in AIW, he's starting to pop up on a lot of shows. And he's probably going to continue to pop up on a lot of shows, honestly. And I mean, rightfully so. And I think this is just, you know, another one of those moments that is going to be remembered as part of the 2022 ascent of Isaiah Broner.
Yeah, big match after big match. As our friend, one of the mysterious benefactors, Josh Goldstein, has dubbed him the problem. Isaiah Broner has been a big problem for just about anybody that he has faced. So we will see what happens. But of course, Eddie Kingston, not a guy to back down from a challenge. We have not seen Eddie at AIW in now over a year. He was part of our return shows last April. So this will be a good welcome home for him as well. It's going to be, you know, that he's going to want to put on a show for everybody in attendance for what he considers, you know, one of his quote unquote home promotions. So a very exciting matchup there. Further fallout from Cybernetico, you know, we talked, it came down to Dominic Guarini and Derek Dillinger. And Derek Dillinger has, you know, we talked about Isaiah Broner thriving under pressure, and Derek Dillinger's put on some good shows. And he has, I mean, again, talk about hard hitting, just he and Dominic Guarini just destroying each other at the end of that Cybernetico. But he falls short, and he falls short again, just as he did, unfortunately, against Wes Barkley for the Biggins Cup. I say all that, but Derek Dillinger will have a matchup on Gauntlet for the Gold against Chase Oliver, who is another guy who has kind of rebounded here in 2022 after injuries, and he has tried to create an ascent for himself. So this makes for a good matchup. Derek feeling like there's still more for him to prove after now coming up short yet again.
Yeah, I think they're both kind of in the same boat, honestly, of, you know, they're kind of right there on that like cusp of, you know, you don't want to say superstardom. That's like probably overblowing it, but you know, there's just that cusp of, you know, hitting that next level, you know, kind of like where Isaiah Broner has kind of, you know, become like this, you know, shooting star, you know, supernova, like unstoppable force. They're kind of not there yet. They're like right kind of, you know, teetering on the edge, I think. Both talented in different ways. They've worked together. You know, I don't think they've worked together in the capacity of AIW much, but they have. And I think, you know, this is a good kind of, you know, opportunity for both of them to go out in front of, you know, what is hopefully a pretty large crowd and, you know, show what they can do.
Yeah, and this is, like you said, great opportunity here for them. Cybernetico, just kind of to round it out, folks, it is available currently on IWTV. So check it out if you have not watched it yet, because you can see all of this fallout, how it all happened, leading us to Gauntlet for the Gold itself. Not just the Cybernetico match, it was incredible. There were also other matches on there. Katie Arquette upsetting Jocelyn Navarro. You know, rematch. We talked about it here, John Thorne. You wanted to see it. Apparently they did too. And that series in AIW sitting at 1-1. So that's exciting. And hopefully that's a rivalry that, I mean, we just continue to see here, because those two do not disappoint. And then we also had a debuting tag team in the Bang Bros. And those guys find themselves on the second AIW show in a row. We are actually going to see the Bang Bros taking on Bulking Season this Saturday at Gauntlet for the Gold.
Yeah, I thought the Bang Bros, you know, had a decent showing, and I figured I'd, you know, kind of give them another opportunity here. You know, there are a lot of other shows going on this date. You know, Like I've said previously, we used to kind of try to manipulate, the calendar to try to find the best date. And this year we kind of had to throw that out the window, and we just picked dates. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that were already previously booked. So, this is where the Bang Bros kind of have, grabbed themselves an opportunity by being available, honestly. And I'm looking forward to what they can do. And, same with bulking season, just like, Derek and Chase, I said they're also kind of, floating around right there. Like the crowd is kind of getting with them, but not totally, full on with them yet. So, I'm just interested to see, how these two teams work together. The Bang Bros, I think, they're young. They have probably quite a long future in, pro wrestling. And I think, same goes for bulking season. I think this is going to be a good battle of two young teams, still trying to really establish themselves. Bang Bros are starting to get quite a bit of work, all around the Midwest, and bulking season gets quite a bit as well. So this is kind of that battle of these two, up and coming Midwest tag teams.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun to watch. Bang Bros really did impress in that first matchup. It was, I mean, I don't know, it was impressive. I just said it. That's the only word I could use. They, I had no idea. I had not seen them live going into this. Into Cybernetico. So it was very fun to watch how, they are relatively new, but how they work so seamlessly well together. And they've got some contrasting styles between the two of them that on the Bang Bros there, and they just blend it so well. Watching them seemed like, honestly, it seemed like I was watching a team that had been together for years and years. So excited to watch them against bulking season here. Bulking season, obviously, with the size advantage. So you talk about contrasting styles. I talked about it between the two guys at Bang Bros, but now you have bulking season, completely different style from them. Which style wins out? We will find out this Saturday. And again, I'm going to tell you again, folks, you want to go, you want to see it all happen live, shop.aiwrestling.com. Get your tickets. That's the only way to see it in real time. You've got to be there in Akron, Ohio, or else wait for it to be released on IWTV and try to avoid any spoilers that may happen out there on social media. So that's all happening this Saturday. Those are the matches that we've got listed right now. Again, Isaiah Broner taking on Eddie Kingston, Bang Bros taking on Bulking Season, Chase Oliver taking on Derek Dillinger, and Dominic Guarini gets his title shot in his home venue for AIW at the Tadmor Shrine in Akron, Ohio, not far from where he grew up. He will vie for the AIW Absolute and Intense titles against current champion Matt Cardona. And then from there, we, of course, also have the 30-person Gauntlet for the Gold. The only way to win is be the last person standing in the ring after everybody else has been thrown over the top and landing 2 feet on the outside of the floor. But John Thorne, I reckon you've got some tricks up your sleeve for not just the Gauntlet, but for everything. May we see, are there other matches that you haven't announced yet? Possibly. I know you're working on some things. Okay.
Possibly. I'm working on some things.
He's not saying anything. He's just working on some things, folks.
I'm working on some things. It's been a difficult process, really just based on, like I said, there are so many shows happening throughout the country this Saturday. So it takes a lot of people off the table. So I was forced to really get creative. And I think for especially those hardcore AIW fans, I think it's going to be a really fun night on Saturday.
There are always surprises within the Gauntlet itself, and I'm just guessing that this will be no different. We'll see some fun returns or maybe debuts. I don't really know fully what to anticipate or expect, but it is always a a good time. And like you just said, people always pleased with getting to see some familiar faces and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think I, I think I was able to put together some interesting enough stuff that's going to happen on Saturday. I really feel that if it all comes together, people will be very disappointed if they choose to sit this one out. But the good thing about it being a surprise, if it falls apart, I mean, nobody really knows, right? Nobody really knows it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's.
But there are some things in motion right now. I will say that
things are in motion, folks. How about that? Let's talk about Gauntlet for the Gold. This was the last event on the calendar before everything shut down. We were gearing up for Gauntlet for the Gold in 2020, and the world shut down, everything canceled. So this event, 2 years in the making, John Thorne. Can you believe that? What does that feel like, knowing that, hey, we're finally here? Is this truly, we've said it many times that we feel like we're back, but because this is the event that we left off with, are you starting to really, really feel like we're back?
It's very like a bittersweet sort of feeling. Because I think a lot of people don't even realize that, because like, I mean, you realize it and you don't realize it, how long the pandemic has been going on for. And, that 2 years is such a blur. At times it feels like it was a lifetime. And, like right now it feels like it just started yesterday, So, I believe Wrestling Cheers put up a tweet with like exactly the amount of days it has been since this event was supposed to happen, and it was like a crazy number. And I was like, wow, like that really put it in perspective. Like this has been on the shelf for 2 years, and it's like, it's the other weird thing is, I saw some people and they're like, how long you been doing AIW? I'm like, 15 years. But it's because we're at Gauntlet for the Gold 15.
Yeah.
Absolution 15. And it's like, wait a second. No, like there's just 2 years that didn't happen. But like we were still at it, and, in a way, just not to the capacity that we were. So it is a very kind of strange feeling to be finally hosting this event. I really am just hopeful that, we can put like our stamp of, it was worth the wait on it on Saturday night. I mean, that's my hope. I've been, I know that, how hard we've been trying to make this a big event, if we can. And, we're trying all sorts of, last minute things and reaching out to last minute people and, kind of bringing it down to the wire to see what we can pull together, if anything. I think what we have is fun. I think that if we can pull some of the stuff together, it will be unforgettable. And I don't want to overhype it because, there's a possibility it doesn't happen. But I'm pretty excited either way, because I think, what the work that, especially went in this weekend, for everything that's coming up in the next few months. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff, and it really kicks off this Saturday.
Yeah, so that tweet that you mentioned, Wrestling Cheers, 26 months is what that says. That's you say that out loud, and I mean that's incredible. 2 years, 2 months.
I know it feels like 26 months, but it doesn't feel like 26 months. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what's been so weird about the pandemic is, it felt like a lifetime, and now it's almost like those years didn't even happen. I don't know. It's a very weird feeling.
Yeah, and that 26 months is from when it was supposed to happen. Not even since the last Gauntlet. The last Gauntlet is probably 38 months, I would say, at least March of 2019. So, man, just wild to think about. Also, backtrack, shout out to Wrestling Cheers. John Thor, did you know that the Aggravated Accountant and the Bitter Banker have their own Twitter? I don't know where they get the time because these guys are always so busy working. But
I knew that they had one, but I did not. I don't think I've ever actually scrolled and read the timeline.
At 9 to 5 AB. If you folks want to follow them out there, they don't have a lot of followers. They're not following a lot of people, I presume, because they're so busy working, and they don't have time for social media. But there you have it. I had no idea, so that's fun. All right, Gauntlet for the Gold. We've talked about it. There's so much going into this. There's so much on the line for everybody. Dominic Garrini could end up being your absolute and intense champion. What an amazing moment that would be for him in his hometown. I think that we would all be just overjoyed for that to happen and finally get rid of Matt Cardona's reign here. Everybody has tried Josh Prohibition, Joshua Bishop. Let's team AIW all the way, of course, and everybody, I think, behind Dominic Garrini here going into Saturday. But then, of course, whether he wins or Matt Cardona retains the titles, the winner of the Gauntlet for the Gold will be your number one contender going into Absolution.
Can I reveal a little twist? Can I reveal a little twisky?
Absolutely.
There's a twist. That I know that we went back and forth on if we were going to make public. But the twist is I decided right now in this moment with not a lot of thought that I'm going to reveal the twist. And the twist is the loser of the absolute title match this Saturday will receive an entry into the Gauntlet for the Gold.
Oh, wow.
So
we could feasibly see
there's a lot
at Absolution.
There's a lot you could see. Correct. Wow. There's a lot of different ways that could shake out.
Okay.
Just throwing another little layer in there.
All right. There you go, folks. That one, not a surprise. You already know going into it. But wow, what a lot of work that would be. You have that matchup, and then that's
you're gonna have to turn right around and enter the Gauntlet if you lose.
Yeah, you're gonna have to turn right around and enter the Gauntlet. Wow, incredible. I don't even know where to go from there. That's what a little sidebar tidbit you threw in there. So now who knows? We could see the rematch at Absolution, which we did mention is you've dropped tickets, right? Tickets are soon on sale to the email list. They are currently on sale.
They were on sale on Patreon, and they went out to the email list. They will go on sale to the public Friday, Saturday. We'll do it Saturday. We'll do it the day of the Gauntlet.
All right, there you go. Absolution 15, and that is also taking place in Akron at the Tadmor Shrine. That's Saturday, July 23rd. So Gauntlet for the Gold, this is, just as Cybernetico had implications for Gauntlet for the Gold, Gauntlet for the Gold will have some incredible implications and lay out what happens at Absolution 15 as we head on our way there. Another event that has not taken place for over 3 years by the time we get to that. All of this not since 2019. So much to look forward to. Again, the only way to watch this in real time is to be there in Akron, Ohio. There's so much, and John Thorne has alluded to possible things here up his sleeve. So shop.aiwrestling.com for your tickets. Only general admission remains, but there's a huge bleacher section, so plenty of seating. This is going to be one of the potentially biggest events in AIW history. You want to be there for it. I think from the various small hints that have been dropped to me, not during this podcast, that this is going to be one of the most talked about shows of the year across independent wrestling.
I mean, that's the hope. We'll see. Like I said, I don't want to hype it up or jinx it and have some things fall through, but there's a lot in motion that I think is too far in motion to stop at this point. I mean, don't get me wrong. Anything can happen between now and Saturday, but there's I don't know.
You're trying to not say too much.
Yeah, I don't know how to not say too much. I would just suggest you buy a ticket. There's under 50 general admission tickets left. I would like to see those gone before Saturday. And let's have fun. Also, totally unsanctioned by the company, there is allegedly going to be a very unsanctioned, we have nothing to do with it if they ask, tailgate going on, hosted by the fans in the parking lot.
Yeah, I imagine that they will be easy to find.
But if the Shrine asks me, I'm going to say, I don't know who those people are.
No idea what you're talking about, Shriners. John Thorne, let's roll into some questions here from the AIW Discord, since you told them to ask the questions here. First one leading off, this has to do with Gauntlet for the Gold. Solid question. We have not addressed it yet on social media. Will Eddie Kingston be doing a meet and greet before the show this Saturday?
I wish I could answer that question, and I cannot. I asked him. He did not respond. So that's where it is.
He did have he doesn't love to do. Right. He's not like a really meet and greet guy.
Right. So I presented it to him. I said, hey, I would get some things made up for you because I know that he doesn't have anything because he doesn't do meet and greets. He didn't respond. So I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe we get him out there for some photo ops or something, unless he responds to me in the next, day or so. So I really can't answer that. I mean, a lot of people have been asking that, and I kind of prefaced it with like that to him. I said, hey, you're a television star now. People are asking these questions. But I really don't have an answer.
I am sending him a text message here as we speak to see what he says. He had a big match last weekend, as I alluded to, for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm sure he was concentrated on that. We will find out. We'll try to find that answer out for you folks. If not by the end of this recording, we'll have it on social media for you. Now here's a fun question from the Rip City Pharmacist. What's your backup entrance song if 99 Problems was not ever in existence?
Oh, I don't know. I've used all kinds of like stupid hardcore metal songs. I don't know. That one I think just people know, I mean, I didn't I used some other stuff. I used a Day to Remember song for a little bit. I mean, after I started using 99 Problems, because I thought it was only appropriate for my feud with Haley Hatred, but then I brought it back when I made that surprise match against Lufisto, because I thought it was, again, an appropriate thing for that match. Mm-hmm. And I think it just, from that, I don't think it ever stuck until that Lufisto match.
Yeah.
And then, at that point, it's just kind of where it is. I mean, I'm not even really the biggest Jay-Z fan, it's just one of those things.
All right. I have an answer for you already.
It's probably a no.
I asked him if he wanted to do it. He said, I hate them, but if Thorn and the fans want me to do it, I'll do it for them.
All right. Well, I'll see if I get some 8x10s made up then.
There you go, folks. Eddie, you will have an Eddie Kingston meet and greet on Saturday before Gauntlet for the Gold. So
until he changes his mind on Saturday.
Until he changes his mind on Saturday. Okay. Did we try to book Cody Rhodes after his WWE release, but before he signed with Ring of Honor?
I don't know if we tried. I mean, we, especially at that time when it was, not like gigantic releases, we would always kind of inquire to see where fees were at and stuff. And it was just not something that we could have afforded at that time. I mean, and that was, right when we were really kind of experimenting with bigger ticket stars to come in, and meet and greets and things like that. And, at that time, financially, it just was not something that we could afford.
There you go.
And then I think he blocked us on Twitter because we didn't book him.
All right. Recent show, I believe we talked about this when we were all together. Recent show down in Georgia, a fan and a wrestler got into it. You don't have to comment on it, but you can if you want. The question being, do you think that there's a limit of what a wrestler should do to get heat?
Yeah, I think there's a limit. I don't know if touching a hat is that. Magnum used to do that all the time, and people loved it.
Yeah,
I think it's all situational. Like what. That's the one thing is like. I think it's like probably not only a wrestling thing, but it could be comparative to the country as a whole. Is like what works in Cleveland isn't going to work in Georgia, and vice versa, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think everything is kind of situational, especially in wrestling. I do think that there should be limits, especially now with just the way the world is, and it has nothing to do with like the quote unquote cancel culture type of people, but you just have to be careful, like you shouldn't be, looking for an altercation as a wrestler. Sure. That's one thing that really bothers me is, when there's like an unruly fan or, there's a drunk fan or there's somebody that's like heckling too much. It's just like wrestlers are so like, oh, we should, they're like foam at the mouth, to like hope that the guy does something. And it's like, I mean, who cares? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand that like pack of wolves mentality that happens sometimes. But yeah, I mean, there's limits. There's limits from that fans should, do too. But again, like the expectation of a limitation from a fan in Cleveland is probably different than the expectation of a fan in Georgia. There's just different pockets of the world, and people, act or have different expectations in different places. So it's really hard to comment on that specific incident. But
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's at fault, both sides.
Sure. Patreon question. Are Patreon levels still getting a makeover? I would say, yeah, we're still working on that. Trying to get some things going there, but we had some priorities, figuring out Gauntlet for the Gold.
I'm slowly working on it, and we have it's funny because I have some stuff that we're gonna surprise some people with, and I have to like figure out how to actually get it out there, you know? So again, you know, I talked to Dustin Alberti. He wants to sit in and commentate those North Canton shows from last summer and put those up on Patreon, and you know, different things are, you know, in the works. And, you know, I guess I should probably maybe do a little bit of research and see some, you know, take a look at some other Patreons and different incentives that are out there. And again, you know, I appreciate the people that have stuck with us on Patreon. You know, we're god awful at it. I mean, I'm not even going to lie. Every now and then we toss some good gems up there, but for the most part, you know, we have not held up our end of the bargain. And that is, you know, really a thing that this year I want to change. And, you know, I guess to kind of speak on that a little bit, one of the things that we are doing now with the school, and, you know, this may come into, you know, help the Patreon. It may not, but, you know, now we are kind of asking people, you know, all the students, like, okay, besides a wrestler, or what other skills do you have? You know, like what else do you do? You know, do you do, you know, and some people are, you know, I went to, you know, a video school, or I have a marketing degree, or, you know, different things like that. So we're really going to try to incorporate some more people kind of, you know, from the school to help out with certain things. And Patreon content is probably really up there on the priority list.
Fun question here. May had Teacher Appreciation Week. This is for both of us. Who is the best teacher you've ever had?
I don't know. I mean, I was a really bad student. All my teachers
I was going to say,
me.
I feel like you really did not like school.
All my teachers hated me. I mean, I was like a bad student until my senior year, and then like I took like, you know, whatever it was, like I like fucked off like until 12th grade, and then they were like, okay, you need X amount of credits to graduate, and then I took like all of those credits, and I got honor roll, and then I was just done with it. You know, like I was just like, I just applied myself for 1 year of high school just to show like, oh, you know, whatever, I can do it. I don't really remember any of my teachers or anything. You know, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'm like more of like it sounds bad, like more of like I like absorbing information, but I'm more of like a you know, filtered out and teach myself sort of person with most things. I mean, that probably sounds kind of stupid, but yeah, I don't have really anything to say about any of my teachers. I mean, I don't really remember too many of them. Been out of school for a while.
Oh, I remember teachers, man. I have a really good memory though. I will say my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Crane, was one of the first people to really like push me, and you know, you felt like somebody saw something in you that you had a bright future. Still keep in touch with him, and he actually went to school with one of my parents, so that was neat to end up finding out. And then high school, my Spanish teachers, Mr. Houston and Mrs. Farquhar, they were great, awesome people. Those are my favorite teachers, probably the best ones I had too. They were just they were really good teachers. I don't know.
Well, I don't think any of my teachers ever saw anything in me, but I don't think that I can name one teacher if $1 million was on the line right now.
Oh man, that's crazy!
Like
I can
lifetime.
I can name so many of my teachers. Yeah,
I could not.
Opinion on some of the new talent that debuted and wrestled on the last couple Winchester shows. We've touched on that. We certainly touched on that in this episode. One group we didn't talk about was a Money Shot. We finally got to see them debut. We had seen Zach Nystrom previously. This time we got to see the Mandime Elijah Dean team up with him. And, you know, they did well. They did a good showing.
I think I think there's been, that is, I will always say, like the Winchester shows, my only thing is I wish that they sold a little faster, or, you know what I mean? Like, wasn't so, wait till the walk up, or there's just, there's a lot of uneasiness when it comes to the Winchester shows compared to like the Shrine or the Odeon for the most part. Those are usually do pretty gangbusters business. But the flip side of that is what's great is getting to see people live in front of a crowd, getting reps in and, developing. And then you go, oh, okay, maybe we do something with them. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll bring them back for a couple. Maybe, another good thing about the Winchesters, maybe you just bring somebody in for a one-off that's great, but they don't fit into the current lay of the land of AIW, right? Like I think Hoodfoot is a good example of that. He's great. We just don't have somewhere for him to be on a full-time basis. That is another great benefit of the Winchester events is, you get those people in and you give the fan base, something that they want to see. And you know what I mean? It has those benefits as well. So I think that there's a lot of great benefits. And speaking of that and new talent, this was a question I got today, privately. So I'll answer it on the podcast. I was asked, will there be a daytime J-Lit weekend show? And the answer to that is yes. We will be bringing back the fresh meat concept for the day show of J-Lit, which will feature quite a few new people coming out of the academy that have been waiting to debut, or will be ready to debut by August 20th. So the fresh meat concept will come back. We only did it one time. We've done kind of different incarnations of debuting people or getting them experience. But fresh meat will be the day show of a J-Lit weekend, which, and it's not going to be exclusive to just students out of the school, but very excited about that concept coming back as well. I was considering not doing a day show at all this year for J-Lit weekend because sometimes it kind of just adds to the pressure of the whole thing. And, J-Lit is such an uphill battle anyway. And then, I went to the school and there's just so many people, like so many students at the school right now. And, we would never be able to debut them, any other way. So I decided to bring back the fresh meat concept. And that's what we're going to do.
And by the way, that's the first time that we've officially talked about J-Lit on the podcast. You did just release the dates on social media. That's August 19th and August 20th here of 2022, folks, Friday and Saturday. So be on the lookout for tickets for that in the future. Also, there was something I was going to clarify there that you were saying, in terms of Winchester shows and debut talents, like a guy like Hoodfoot and, anybody that we may use as a one-off, that's not to say that, hey, maybe we'll try to figure something out in the future. It's just, look, we don't have anything right
Correct.
now. I mean, everything's very fluid always, of course.
Right. It's just, it's really to give, the fans, somebody that they want to see that we, sometimes we can't get these people because they're booked so often as well, so, those are the benefits of, the Winchester shows. I just wish that, maybe people bought those tickets up a little faster, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, that's but that's the nature of, what we're doing.
Here's a good question. And I feel like maybe we've touched on it here and there, but not fully. It's definitely a conversation we've had in private. The question being, has the rising cost of flights started to affect future bookings? And I could just say, the short version of this is not only the future, but past and already present bookings? People have been unaware of this, but I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean the cost of travel right now is astronomical. Like a flight that could sometimes have been $150 is, some now coming in at like $700. And not only is the cost of travel up, the cost of hotels for some reason have gone up for no apparent reason in the city of Cleveland. And I'm sure all over the country. It's just, it's crazy. How much travel has gone up, and it is a gigantic concern. For sure. I mean, it's a concern, especially now that, we're kind of ready to put the pedal to the metal, but then you're going, oh, you got three flights, and, you've just increased the budget, by, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, when you throw the hotels in and everything else. It's going to get tricky, I think. And if you know any sponsors or anybody, you know what I mean? Like we really don't hustle sponsors or any of that additional revenue, but, JLIT is going to be touchy. I can say that we've already, confirmed a couple, decently price tagged people, with flights and all these other things. And the June show is going to be, it's going to hurt, I'm sure, travel wise. Have at least, just what's announced, you get 2 flights from Mexico City. But, that's us trying to, throw down that, people were kind of, I felt like people, and I'm not saying this directly to, our loyal fan base, but I feel like just maybe people within the industry have been, had counted us out or written us off a little bit, based on, how we were kind of going slow, throughout the last year of kind of reopening things up. So, there were positives and negatives for how we did things, since the kind of slow comeback from COVID and the pandemic. And I feel like kind of the slowness of that wrote us off a little bit. So now it's, I want to fucking throw everything out there, you know what I mean? And say, hey, we never left. And, I think the shows have been vastly improving because of that mentality. But then boom, you get hit with the reality of these rising travel costs and expenses. And it's, it's tough to juggle because you don't want you don't want the bank account to go down to zero. And, then we're down again for, who knows what could happen in the future. Nobody expected a pandemic to happen. So, it's all very concerning. I haven't really backed off of too much yet, but sometimes it's like, hey, do we need that? Maybe we put somebody else in that spot. Some people request, even the carloads, you know what I mean? Like we can't bring a carload in from like we used to from the East Coast that was packed full of talent, gas is like, I think it was $5 for like, the lowest, what is it, like 87 or whatever gas? Like, it was like $5 yesterday in Cleveland. Well, so I can't imagine. Right? I can't imagine what it is in New York or, some of these bigger areas. So, I mean, the carload, and this is going to affect, also our students that are actively on the road on non-AIW dates. It's going to be hard for them to get work too, because people aren't, gas. I think some people like kind of joke about the economics of indie wrestling. Like they think it's like all a big joke because all you ever hear about is these like, you know, hot dog promoters or whatever,
yeah,
whatever the fuck. But like that is more rare than you think. And the problem is, you know, the real promoters are just not going to be able to afford a carload of people, you know what I mean, to drive to wherever, you know, like that's going to take multiple tanks of gas, you know, like it just, we're thankful that we can fill out a card if we needed to, gun to the head with probably all students. We're not doing that, but a lot of other promotions are probably in a lot of trouble in that respect, because I mean, it does not seem like these prices are going to go down anytime soon, whether it be a gas or air travel. Because I would think that air travel is so expensive because of the price of gas.
Yeah, it's part of it, sure.
So, I mean, I don't know. We haven't really totally backed off or been scared off. You know, I think if we were really scared off, I wouldn't have put that J-Lit flyer up today. You know, we're going to go for it. We're going to see what happens and hope for the best, and hope people, you know, that are listening to this podcast stay along for the ride with us, you know, through the summer, and just hope everything works out.
Next question, I believe we've actually talked about before, because somebody had asked. Question being, what happened to Dick Justice? I see he's doing the oldie wrestling show. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Dick he kind of quietly,
I think
retired.
I think he's kind of retired. Yeah, I think he did the last old thing as like as well. So I don't know. I haven't really.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing he's doing.
I haven't really spoken to him. I think, you know, old wrestling runs like once a year. Mm-hmm. So I think he just kind of happily retired from the business for the most part, and, you know, comes in and does that thing once a year.
Yeah, because let's be honest, the style of oldie wrestling is not, you know,
it's not old wrestling, just with an extra E.
Yeah, it's just a fun time, you know. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
family oriented style stuff, and it's not the rigors of it aren't what other independent wrestling shows are.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of in a package with Colin and Cheech, you know, too. So I don't know if they've spoken to him. I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I haven't spoken to him in, man, I don't even know how long. So yeah, I mean, I hope he's doing well, I guess.
Last question, and we'll wind this thing down. And again, folks, Gauntlet for the Gold. Maybe you tuned out because you got all the hype, but we're still excited about it this weekend, May the 21st. Gauntlet for the Gold, Tadmore Shrine, Akron, Ohio. Only way to be there, or see it in real time, I should say, shop.aiwrestling.com. As John Thorne said, there are about 50 general admission tickets left. Get them now. Be there. You're going to want to be there. If any of these potential things that are being worked on do happen to shake out, it certainly will be talked about for a long time in terms of shows. And otherwise, you have to wait days, maybe a week or so, till it's on IWTV. But your last question here from the Discord. Funny, I just had this conversation with someone yesterday. Outside of the floating ring, are there any gimmick matches you haven't done that you would want to?
I don't know.
Floating ring is kind of our tops, right? That or on a barge.
Yeah, just a ring in a body of water, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not really, I don't think. I mean, when I was growing up, like, the no ropes barbed wire was like the end all be all of gimmick matches. And like now there's just like every fucking stupid thing ever. So yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I didn't think I ever wanted to do a cybernetico though, and we did, and I thought it went really well. So I don't know. I mean, present me some ideas and with a Wikipedia that explains the rule set, and we'll see what happens.
John Thorne, to wrap this thing up, I present to you another Cleveland staple outside of AIW that has a very big monumental weekend coming up. I just saw it while I was scrolling looking for things
Is
here.
it Swoggle Pro?
It is not Swoggle Pro.
Swoggle Pro's this Saturday too in Wisconsin, but it is sold out.
It is a Cleveland. If you grew up in Cleveland area, you will know this weekend, opening back up, celebrating its 70th anniversary, is the Memphis Kitty Park.
Oh, that's right by my house.
Yeah, you spent some time there as a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think every kid that lived in Northeast Ohio went to Kitty Park because it was like, oh, I don't have to take my kid to Cedar Point. Just take him to this shitty little park that has like a fucking merry-go-round and a mini Ferris wheel.
It was great. Loved it.
It sucks over there though. I don't recommend anyone going over to the Kitty Park because I guess they're building like a giant Amazon thing over there. And
traffic's terrible.
No, they have like the bridge shut down over there, so like you can't go into like towards Lakewood, and you can't come from Lakewood.
Oh wow!
It's all shut because I think it's because they have to reinforce the bridge because of all the trucks that are going to be coming in for Amazon.
Wow. Okay.
So they're building a gigantic Amazon facility in Brooklyn, right across from the Kitty Park, and yeah, it's all tore up over there.
Well, if you can get there, folks. It's a Cleveland landmark, and
that's been the John Thorne traffic report.
There you go. The old movie, not theater, but your outdoor movie screens.
The old drive-in used to be
drive-in. Yeah, used to go to that all the time too. That is gone. Saw Batman Forever there. Yeah.
Oh, I saw I'm the babysitter there.
Oh, that's a good one. Good one. So
got a couple other stories. I got a couple other stories from my later teenage years that I can't.
Yeah, I bet you do. Though. I bet you do. Yeah. Wrap this thing up here in about give it like 30 seconds. Your pitch this Saturday, Gauntlet for the Gold. Anything? What should people expect to summarize it up?
I think if we could pull this off, this will be one of the most talked about AIW events probably in history. So if you're thinking about missing it, I would highly reconsider and change your plans for this Saturday and come to the Tadmor Shrine. Tickets only $20.
Are you asking me? You're the one that's the prices.
I can't remember.
I think there might be more than that. It might be 25 for this marquee event as we do. But that's some high praise, folks. We've done so many of these hard sell shows, and you listen to John Thorne kind of be, I don't know. I hope it goes good.
Let me say this: the resale as it is right now is very good.
Yeah.
It may not look as good. I mean, that all depends on if all those holdover people come down to the Tadmor Shrine or they just don't show up. I don't know. But if, all in with those holdover tickets, it should be a pretty full Tadmor Shrine. But, I do realize that there's the possibility that I sent people those reissue tickets and I don't know. I mean, the thing that was kind of sad is, a couple of people passed away that were on that list, which is awful. So I don't know, what happened to, I don't know if all, 100 whatever plus people will be showing up or what. I only had a couple people message me and say that they would like their ticket to be, available for a fan that could use it. So I don't know. I sent out another email today just to make sure. I said, hey, this is your last chance. So we'll see.
There you go. $20. You are correct, sir. $20 general admission. So for that wonderful price, we hope to see more of your faces this weekend, Saturday, May the 21st, at the Tadmor Shrine in Akron, Ohio, for Gauntlet for the Gold 15. And we will potentially crown a brand new champion. We certainly, one way or the other, are going to crown a number one contender for Absolution 15. So Your only way to watch it in real time is to be there. $20 ticket, shop.aiwrestling.com. Otherwise, you got to wait however many days until it goes up on IWTV, and you got to try to avoid the spoilers, but you're going to want to be a part of the conversation from what John Thorne's saying here. So, all that being said, if we do not see you this weekend, we will talk to you the next time right here on AIW's The Card is Going to Change.